Glad to see you are back for part 2 of Mr. Klutz is Nuts. I also want to give a shout out to all my second graders, because second grade rocks, representing second grade here from home. Okay, so here we go. I think where we left off, you find it really quick, Mr. Klutz was doing a physics science experiment and he fell off the desk. So here we go. Chapter 8, Mr. Klutz puckers up. When Mr. Klutz got back from the hospital, we were all relieved to hear that he hadn't broken any bones. He was limping, though, and told us that he would have to use a cane for a week. We were afraid we might have to call off the chocolate party. But whoa, he was more excited about it than ever. Everybody in the whole school got involved during doing math problems so that we could win the party. I mean, even the teachers were doing math problems. During library, Mrs. Ruby asked us questions like, if the library had 100 books and you checked out 50 of them, how many books would be left in the library? And then during music period, Mr. Hine asked us questions like, if the school only has 10 trumpets and 6 kids signed up to take trumpet lessons, how many more kids need to sign up for trumpet lessons? Miss Daisy made a big tote board so we would know how many math problems we had completed. And every day she tallied up the math problems on the tote board. And it wasn't long before the school had finished 1,000,000 math problems. Of course, Andrea did the problem that put us over the top. Of course, I totally hate her. On the night of the chocolate party, you should have seen the gym. They had music and games, and tables were set up with chocolate chip cookies, chocolate cake, chocolate muffins, and even broccoli covered in chocolate. Disgusting. By the end of the party, I thought I was going to throw up. It was the greatest night of my life. At 9 o'clock, somebody came in with a big pig on a leash. I don't know where they got it. The zoo, I guess. We all watched as the pig was brought over to Mr. Klutz, wrinkled up his face, and acted like he was all disgusted. Mr. Klutz, that is, not the pig. And when he bent over and kissed the pig on the lips, the whole school went crazy. Even the pig freaked out, oinking and squealing and running around the gym until the grown-ups were able to catch it. Dudes, it was a Kodak moment, if you ask me. Chapter 9, I pledge allegiance to Mr. Klutz. I want to congratulate all you kids, Mr. Klutz said over the loudspeaker on Monday morning during the announcements. You did it! 1,000,000 math problems. That's quite an accomplishment. See, all you needed was a little incentive. This has been such a huge success that I have decided to challenge you again, he continued. Now, Election Day is coming up in November. This is a very important day in America. I think every child in this school should write an essay about what it means to have elections. And if you achieve this goal, By election day, I will climb the flagpole in front of the school, and I will recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag when I get to the top. Oh, I hope he doesn't hurt himself again, said Emily. I'll write my essay during recess, said Andrea, who always does everything the second any grown-up tells her, instead of waiting a long time like everybody else. I mean, come on, be a normal kid. Couldn't we just write one essay for the whole class? I asked Miss Daisy. I mean, that would be a lot easier. But then Mr. Klutz's voice came on loudspeaker again. Now, I know some of you will ask if you can write a class essay. The answer is no. If you want to see me skinny up the flagpole, each student must write their own essay. That's my final offer. Take it or leave it. And I'll tell you what, when we have all the essays, I will send them to the president to read. Have a nice day. Now, the thought of the President of the United States reading our personal words was pretty cool. Even I had to admit that. Everybody finished their election day essays so quickly that we were done like a week before election day. And then some kids, like Andrea, even wrote 2 essays. On the morning of election day, all the students and teachers gathered on the grass in front of the school. Mr. Klutz came out of the door. He was wearing red, white, and blue Uncle Sam costume. He also had on sneakers and one of those harnesses that lumberjacks use, to climb up trees. His legs were all better, so he didn't walk with a cane anymore. We all let out a big roar when Mr. Klutz started to shimmy up the flagpole. I was a little afraid that he was going to fall and break his leg or something, but he didn't. For a principal, he was a pretty good climber. When he got up to the top, we all recited the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag with him. Then everybody let out a cheer. When he was sliding down the flagpole, Mr. Klutz got his foot caught in the rope that was holding up the flag. And as he was trying to get his foot loose, his hand slipped and he fell. The next thing we knew, Mr. Klutz was hanging upside down from the flagpole. His Uncle Sam hat fell off, and everybody gasped. Mr. Klutz was just hanging there, halfway up the flagpole. I mean, like he was another flag or something. It would have been the funniest thing in the history of the world if we didn't honestly think that Mr. Klutz was going to fall and land on his head. Help! He shouted. My foot is caught in the rope. Quick, get some pads from the gym for him to land on, yelled Mrs. Rupee, the school librarian. Call the fire department, yelled Mrs. Cooney, the nurse. Everybody was running around like crazy, and nobody knew what to do. And it looked like Mr. Klutz would have to just hang there for like the rest of his life on the flagpole. I don't know. He'll figure out a way to get down. When the blood rushes to his head, I think it helps him think. But then it was Miss Daisy who came up with the great idea. She went over to the bottom of the flagpole where the rope is all tied up. She took the knot out and held both ends of the rope really tight. Then she just slowly and carefully began to let out some of the rope and lowered Mr. Klutz down from the flagpole. Just like that, he was down. When he reached the bottom, the teachers caught him and loosened the rope from his foot. He was okay, he said, except for rope burns on his legs. Hooray for Miss Daisy! Our class cheered. After he was back on the ground, Mr. Klutz got up, brushed himself off, and walked up the front steps like it was totally normal for a principal to just hang upside down from a flagpole. Dudes, Mr. Klutz is nuts. Chapter 10, Mr. Klutz is getting weirder. Your election day essays were fantastic, Mr. Klutz told our class the next morning. He had a big bandage wrapped around his head. I'm guessing he must have either crashed his skateboard again or found another flagpole to fall off of. Thank you, we all said. But I was a little surprised by the number of spelling errors I found in them, he continued. We need to improve the spelling at our school. So here is what I have decided to do. If you can write out a list of 100,000 spelling words by Thanksgiving, I will dress up in a turkey costume and ride a pogo stick down Main Street. I'm going to go back for a second. Yeah, everybody hollered. How about 1,000 spelling words? Shouted Ryan. Nope, 100,000 spelling words, Mr. Klutz repeated. That's my final offer. Take it or leave it. And every word must be spelled correctly. Have a nice day. So during lunch, I was sure that Andrea was going to start her the spelling words just to show how smart she was. But she didn't. She just kind of sat there, picking at her food, being all quiet. You know, I've been thinking, she finally said. I'm beginning to wonder if something might be wrong with Mr. Klutz. Oh no, like what? Emily asked. Well, maybe he has some kind of personal problem. What do you mean? Michael asked. Mr. Klutz is a cool guy. Would you rather have a boring old principal? Well, my mother is a psychologist, Andrea said. And she says that people sometimes do weird things for reasons that are buried deep within their minds. Dude, what does that mean? I asked. It means she thinks Mr. Klutz is nuts, Michael said. I didn't say that, Andrea went on. All I'm saying is that maybe he didn't want to climb up the flagpole, and maybe he doesn't want to put on a turkey costume, and maybe he just wants people to like him. And the only way he knows how to show that is to do nutty things. Maybe he's sad and unhappy. And maybe all he wants is a hug. Oh, that's the saddest story I've ever heard, Emily said. And then she started crying, of course. Me, Ryan, and Michael looked at one another, and we all rolled our eyes up into our heads. Dude, Mr. Klutz is cool, Ryan said. You're the one who had some kind of personal problem, Andrea. Maybe Mr. Klutz is nuts, I said. In fact, maybe he's not a principal at all. Did you ever think of that? Maybe Mr. Klutz escaped from a home for the criminally insane, and he's just pretending to be a principal. And maybe a real principal is tied up to a chair in a dungeon down in the basement. My friend Billy told me, oh, there's no dungeon down in the basement. I told Emily, he doesn't want us to know that our real principal is tied up to a chair down there. And he probably tortures him during summer vacation. Well, I think you guys are nuts, Emily said. I'm worried about Mr. Klutz. Yeah, I'm worried too, Andrea said, biting on her fingernails. I'm really worried. Chapter 11, The Last Straw. Well, I don't know if all that mumbo jumbo Andrea said was true or not, but I had to admit, Mr. Klutz was acting weirder and weirder. After we finished the list of 100,000 spelling words, and he pogo sticked down Main Street in a turkey costume, he offered to paint his bald head orange if our school got the highest reading score in the country. And we did. And he came to school with an orange head. Then he offered to let every kid in the school shoot ping pong balls at him if we collected enough box tops to buy new computers for the school. And we did that too. I mean, it was fun shooting ping pong balls at Mr. Klutz, but even I was beginning to worry that there was something troubling him. And then came the day when it was obvious to everybody that Mr. Klutz had gone off the deep end. It was at the end of the morning announcements. Miss Daisy had stepped out of the room just for a minute. Boys and girls, Mr. Klutz said over the loudspeaker, winter vacation is coming up. If the students at our school read with their parents for 1,000,000 minutes before school lets out, I will bungee jump off the roof of the school dressed up like Santa Claus. Me and Ryan and Emily and Andrea and Michael all looked at one another. That's the last straw, Andrea said. What? There are plenty of straws, I told her. Do you want me to get you one or something? Dude, she means we can't take this anymore, Ryan told me. Is that what the last straw means? I asked. You know, I always wondered what the last straw meant. At first, I thought Mr. Klutz was just a funny guy, Andrea said seriously. And he is, but he's also deeply disturbed. We've got to do something. If he keeps going on like this, he might hurt himself again. Or even worse, if we don't stop him and something terrible happens, it would be our fault. I never thought of it that way, I said. But what can we do? Emily Emily asked. We're just kids. Yeah, we have to have an intervention, Andrea said. What's that? Ryan asked. It's when you sit down and you tell somebody that has a problem, Andrea explained, and then you force them to do something about it. My mother has interventions all the time. I'm not telling Mr. Klutz he has a problem, Ryan said. Dude, me neither, agreed Michael. AJ, you started this whole thing, Andrea told me. I did not. Yes, you did. You were the one who gave him the idea to give out incentives and learning in the first place. Well, that's true, the others agreed, looking at me like I was a criminal or something. Yes, all I did was hit a puck into a net, I said. AJ, you got to tell Mr. Klutz that if he bungee jumps off the roof, we are not going to read 1 minute with our parents. To read, Andrea said. 2 can play at his game. If he's going to do crazy things, then we won't read any more books. We won't do any more spelling words. We won't do any more math problems. We won't learn anything. I couldn't believe I was hearing this from Andrea. Her idea of having fun is to read the dictionary during recess. If she was willing to give up learning, she must be really serious about Mr. Klutz and his problems. But if we stop learning stuff, I protested, we'll get dumber. And in your case, Andrea told me, that would be impossible, you dumbhead. Chapter 12, A Hard Bargain. That afternoon, we talked to Miss Daisy. We talked to her to let her know we need to go to Mr. Klutz's office for a meeting. We need to speak with Mr. Klutz, Andrea told the school secretary. It's very important. Yeah, it's a matter of life and death, Ryan said. The secretary let us in. Mr. Klutz wasn't hanging from the ceiling or anything. He had on boxing gloves, and he was punching a punching bag. May I help you, kids? He asked. Go ahead, AJ, Andrea said, giving me a shove from behind. Mr. Klutz, I told him, we have come to make a deal with you. Really? What kind of deal? Well, we decided that we will read 1,000,000 minutes with our parents, but only if you don't jump off the roof. Only if I don't jump off the roof? Only if I don't jump off the roof, he said, looking puzzled. But I was going to jump off the roof as an incentive to encourage you to read with your parents at night. Well, we're going to read with our parents at night as an incentive to make you not jump off the roof. Well, this is highly unusual, Mr. Klutz said. I thought the principal should offer the students incentives, not the other way around. Well, it's just that your incentives have been getting more and more dangerous, Andrea told him. And we're afraid that you might get killed trying to help us learn. Yeah, and if you die, I'm going to feel guilty, I added. Now, let me get this straight, Mr. Klutz said. I offer to jump off the roof if you read 1,000,000 minutes a night with your parents. But you are saying that you will only read 1,000,000 minutes with your parents if I don't jump off the roof. Is that correct? That's right. Well, what if I jump off the basketball backboard in the gym into a swimming pool filled with foam blocks? Miss Klutz asked. Would that be okay? No, we all said. Well, can I wear a suit made of bubble wrap and jump off the stage in the auditorium? No, I said. No jumping off of anything, Mr. Klutz, Andrea insisted. Not if you want us to read or write or do math. That's our final offer. Take it or leave it. Well, you drive a hard bargain, Mr. Klutz sighed. But okay, I won't jump. Have a nice day, we all said. Chapter 13. Poor Mr. Klutz. The kids in the other grades were disappointed when they heard that Mr. Klutz had changed his mind about bungee jumping off the school. Some of them were even mad at us for stopping him. But when it was announced that there would be a field trip to Waterworld if we reached our goal instead, they stopped being mad. Waterworld is probably the coolest water park in California. A few days before vacation, the school still hadn't reached our goal of 1,000,000 minutes of reading with our parents, and it looked like we weren't going to make it in time. Then Mr. Klutz got on the loudspeaker during morning announcements. Students, there are 3 more nights to go before vacation, he told us. I hate to do this, but if you don't reach your goal by Friday, the field trip to Waterworld will be called off, and I will have no choice but to jump off the roof. Have a nice day. After hearing that, everybody started reading with their parents like crazy. Even the 6th graders who say that reading isn't cool. Everybody wanted to go to Waterworld, and we reached 1,000,000 minutes the day before school let out for vacation. The field trip to Waterworld was awesome. They had about 100 giant water slides, and in some of them, the slide in the dark, there was dark, and there were laser beams shooting all over the place. And we got to eat as much pizza and ice cream as we wanted. They also had one of those giant inflatable moon bounce thingies where you jump around like crazy inside. So after water sliding and eating all that junk food and bouncing in the moon bounce, I thought I was gonna throw up. It was the greatest day of my life. Me and Ryan and Emily and Andrea and Michael went looking for Mr. Klutz to say thank you. And we found him standing next to the moon bouncy thing. Dude, great party, I told Mr. Klutz, and we all gave him a big hug. If you ask me, you're the greatest principal in the history of the world. Well, thanks, AJ. So, you didn't need to bungee jump off the school to make us learn, Andrea said. I guess not, Mr. Klutz said. He was looking up at the moon bounce, but I was just thinking, if I brought one of those moon bounce things out to the front of the school and I went up to the roof and no, we all yelled. I wouldn't even need a bungee cord. No, it's pretty soft. No. I think it's going to be very hard work helping Mr. Klutz get over this need he has of doing nutty things. Maybe by June, if the whole school works together, we might be able to cure him. But it won't be easy. And that is it. All right. That ends book 2, Mr. Klutz's Nuts. So I will do a reading again next week. I will do it on part 1 of Whoop, can you see that? Mr. Granite is from another planet. So this is actually book number 3 in the My Weird School Days series. Again, it doesn't matter what order you read them in. This is a really funny one. And when I was looking through my books, I got a special surprise because this book was given to me from Spencer, who I had in my class years ago. I think he's so old now. I think he's like a 6th grader. So thank you to Spencer for donating this book to my classroom. It is still a super great book that the kids love. I will start this next Tuesday at 4. So hope to see you there. And otherwise, hopefully it's a nice weekend. Everybody have a good time. Stay put, stay safe, but try to get outside. All right, talk to you later. Bye.